Chris here from Fodder Group again, and I'm here today to talk specifically about the importance of a 4-day grow cycle. Now, not many people know what a 4-day grow cycle is because we're the only ones that do it. And I want to explain to you now why a 4-day grow cycle is so important as opposed to a 5, 6 or 7-day cycle. So it's all about the yield and the production. What we're trying to do here is maximise the number of trays that we've got inside a given system to get the best possible outcome over the grow cycle, whatever that is. And probably the best way for me to explain that to you is to give you an example. So let's say that our system produces 1,500 pounds a day, and we found this magical way to increase that by 20% and get that extra 300 pounds out of that system. So 300 pounds out of a system over a year equates to 108,000 pounds over the entire year. So sorry, 300 per day, 108 pounds, my math's not real good, over the whole year. So if you look at that and look at the raw production cost of that, you're talking about at 6 cents a pound, which is what we know our systems can produce that fodder for, then we're talking about a massive $6,500 a year in bottom line revenue, just out of the production cost. Now, if you're actually selling that fodder at $1 a pound, there's an extra $108,000 a year. Now you know why we do it. So that's the reason that we're looking at getting to a 4-day grow cycle. But now let's talk about how we get to a 4-day grow cycle. So there's 3 things that we need to get that sort of growth that allows us to do this. And the first is we need great grain quality. And this is very, very important, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We need to handle that grain correctly. We want to make sure that in the lead up to putting that system, the grain into the system, that we handle that grain perfectly to get the optimum outcome. And of course, inside the system, what we must have are perfect growing conditions, because without that, we don't give ourselves any chance at all of getting that result in the 4 days. So we work mainly with the malted varieties of typically barley, but we can also work with wheat if we can find the right variety in your region. We can also incorporate wheat, but barley is our #1 preferred grain. Now, we prefer varieties that sprout at a very high level or germinate at a very high level. And that's the reason that malted varieties are good for us. It's what the brewers use. And what we like to do is find that barley that is germinating at 98% or more. And it's out there. But you need to have the right people to find that. We happen to work with the #1 grain guy in the US, who is fantastic. He knows all the guys out there in the brewing industry, all the farmers that deal within that market, and he deals direct with farms to find the right grain. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is have a good grain supply when we have that. The second thing is that we want to treat the grain in a certain way in the lead up to it going onto the trays, and that's something we'll discuss with you when you become a client. But if we do that correctly, we get a good head start when it goes onto the trays, and we maximise the yield that we get within the system. So, and of course, the third and probably most important thing is that we need to have a good environment inside that system to be able to get the best results. So we need to make sure the temperature's right, we need to make sure the humidity's right, and we need to make sure that the air quality in there is never compromised, so as we don't carry nasties around to let things like mould proliferate. Mould is our biggest enemy, and the way to control it is to make sure that we have the environment properly controlled within inside the system, so as we don't give it a chance to start. These are the most important things when it comes to getting fodder to grow from a grain or a seed to a rich, thick, luscious mat in 4 days. So these perfect circumstances also allow us to get a 6-to-1 ratio from grain to fodder. So that means that for every pound of grain we put on our tray, in 4 days we're pulling off 6 pounds of fodder, and that is a great ratio over the 4 days. Most systems in the marketplace today operate on a 6 or 7 day cycle, and I'm pretty sure the answer is obvious as to which you'd prefer to do. The numbers don't lie, do they? So if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we do it, and if you found something in this video that resonates with you, please give us a call today. The number's on the screen. We'd love to talk more to you about what we do and how we can do it and how we can help you more specifically. And we'd love to have you call. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.